August 1st, 2015 will be a day that I'll never forget. It was a day that was a beautiful summer day. Temperature, climate, everything was beautiful. Heading to the lake for the day, just like any other nice day. Only one thing. I was about to have an event happen to me that, you know what, none of us can predict. It was a boat poker run at the lake this Saturday afternoon, and it's always the busiest day of the year with people on the water at Diggity Wash Lake on poker run day. So we had just gone out for a jet ski ride and gone to a couple stations, picked up a couple cards, seen a lot of people, and we just came back, decided we'd take a little break for lunch.
I remember about that day on August the 1st it was just a beautiful day. The weather was just perfect. Wayne and I went for a ride on a jet ski, and we came back, and I remember it was a really warm day at the lake, but there was a gentle breeze, and I can remember thanking God for such a beautiful day. And I made lunch for Wayne, and when he came over to eat lunch, I think I probably told him about 4 times how it's such a wonderful day. I said, Wayne, this day is just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And then within a matter of minutes, that perfect day turned into the worst day. So Wayne started to complain about not feeling well.
And at that moment, my chest and heart started racing like a bull coming out of a gate.
He left the table, we were eating outside, and he walked down to the dock. He said his heart was pounding fast and he's feeling really warm, so he went down to the dock to splash some water on himself.
And I followed him down to the ramp, and he got in the water up to about his knees, and he said to me, splash water on me out. I need to get cooled off. Splash the water on me. So he was splashing water on himself as I was splashing water on him at the same time, trying to cool him down. And within a minute, he got sick to his stomach kind of thing, and he wanted to throw up.
I was getting weak, and heart was still racing. I was thirsty. Like I felt like I needed tons of water. I felt like I needed to jump in, but I'd never have enough strength.
One of my daughters said, Daddy, it's Wayne. There's something wrong with Wayne. And I kind of squinted, and I seen Alan standing over somebody who was laying on the dock. So I said, so the girls let me through. So I swam into the shore here, and I got my wife to get my glasses, and I run through the bushes and went right down to the dock. And Wayne was struggling to breathe.
And then he started to feel weak, so he laid down on the dock, and he asked me to go get our neighbor Linda. She's a nurse, and I asked our friend Al to call 911, and I ran over to get Linda at her cottage 2 doors down. She wasn't there, but her daughter was there, and her daughter said she'll send for her because she was out in the boat on the lake. So I went back to Wayne, and he was just quickly fading. His skin started to turn gray. His eyes were rolling back in his head, and he started. He just wasn't responding when I was talking to him.
And then all of a sudden, I don't know how much time had passed. It seemed like a while. And these 2 nurses came in behind me. Their boat stopped at the dock, and they came in behind me. And then I took his shoes off, and they began to administer CPR. So apparently the boy that was there, he took off, and he told his girlfriend that man was dying over there, and she went out on the rocks and started to wave to the boats to say, you know, go get my mother, she's a nurse. so that's what they did, and there was 2 nurses on that boat. So the time it took for them to come and start administering CPR, I talked to Patty Ann afterwards, and we figured it had to be at least 10 minutes.
The day that this incident took place with Wayne, I was farther down the lake with other friends. Another individual came down and told me that there was a problem up around our cottage. And then we came up and we saw Wayne lying on the dock, but at that point in time, we didn't know it was Wayne. He was unrecognizable. He was completely discolored, cyanotic, which is a term for blue in coloring. He had no intake of respirations, 0 respirations, 0 pulse, either periphery or in his cardiac or carotid. We assessed him for coloring in his nail beds and in his eyes. His eyes were fixed and dilated. And again, we could feel no pulse in any of the vital spots that were necessary. We began CPR with another LPN as well, and we worked on that for approximately 10 minutes. I'm unsure how long Wayne was down before we got here. We were assessing him, like I said, for his pulse and respirations. His eyes were fixed and dilated, and he began to froth at the mouth, which is a sign of no oxygen in the lungs. So we began and we worked on CPR for approximately 10 minutes while another individual was on phone with 911 for assistance. We still had not recovered any kind of a pulse at that point in time. And like I had previously said, I didn't realize it was Wayne who we were working on until his wife Patty came down and tapped me on the shoulder and asked how he was doing. And that's how unrecognizable Wayne was at that point in time when we got here and as we worked on him.
So when my thoughts go back to that afternoon that I was on my way out, all I could do is look up at the new construction and think, what's Pat gonna do? What's Patty Ann gonna do? How's she gonna finish this? What's she gonna do with the properties? What's she gonna do with the business? What about the staff? What about all my family, the boys? Those were the thoughts that were running through my head. And then my thoughts changed and went to knowing that I was on my way out.
Somebody had to go out to meet the ambulance, and Al was saying, we need somebody to meet the ambulance because, you know, there's different roads they could take. So I couldn't get my car out. I didn't know where the keys for Alan's truck were, so somebody gave me a set of keys, and I just took the car and I started up the road, and I didn't get too far. I met them, and when I did, I threw the car in reverse, and I backed up, and when I got to the road, I just stopped, and I pointed, you know, go in this way, and then they came in.
The ambulance paramedic team arrived, and they came in and took over and put the heart monitor on him, and there was still not a pulse at that point in time. But shortly after that, his pulse did return, and they began working on him and getting oxygen level, and they loaded him up, and off he went in the ambulance from there, and he regained somewhat consciousness in the ambulance.
After the incident happened, I remember seeing one of my coworkers, and she told me that her sister-in-law was one of the nurses there helping Wayne on the dock. And she told me that her sister-in-law said that when they put Wayne in the ambulance, she could remember thinking that if that man lives, it would only be by the grace of God.
the next evening, I'm playing in the park, and who walks in? My second song, Wayne. And it was hard for me to remember the words that I'm singing in the song, as I'm just kind of staring at him walking, trying to get a seat, and I'm just like, I'm looking at a miracle. I'm looking at a miracle, and I just praise God. I know that God answers His prayer, and it wasn't the ordained time that He has been appointed for Wayne.
To revive someone that had been unconscious for an unknown period of time, personally, I'm not sure approximately how long he was out. I've been told that it's very hard to bring someone back after a long period of time. And with the shape we found him when we came, and both the other LPN and I agreed on all the things I previously stated, I think it was a miracle.
In my opinion, with the whole episode that transpired that day, I just believe there was a miracle had taken place from the time that Wayne was dead on the ramp to the time that he was put into the ambulance and gained conscience. I just think it was truly a miracle for him to be in the condition that he was and to come back to consciousness as he made his way to the hospital.
What's really amazing about this whole thing is that, and of all the days for this to happen, that there was a poker rally here on this lake, and so there was a lot of boats going up and down the river. So if it had to happen on any other day, it wouldn't be those two nurses that just happened to be here that day to come and administer CPR and save Wayne's life. So, and here we are, a half hour off the beaten path. That those two nurses were right here. So to me, that's a miracle. The Lord knew that those nurses were here, and that He would live. And here we are talking about it 1 year later, when there's a poker rally today on the lake, and Wayne's here, enjoying his family and enjoying the day and out on the water too. So that's amazing.
I know that there was people that showed up and prayed while I was totally unconscious, without a pulse. There was many people around, friends and family, that joined together in prayer that afternoon, and they witnessed a miracle. And I'm just thankful that I got a second chance. And each day, I know, is a gift, and for any one of us, it could be our last breath any day. And now that I've been through this, you look at life a little different, even from before. That each day is a gift, and we need to treasure it. And I take a whole lot more deep breaths now than before. And I'm just thankful to God that, I'm still here with my family, friends, and that I can still be used to help others. And for that, I give thanks. And I ask God to forgive me for all and every sin that I had. Forgive me for everything. Because as a Christian, we know that our heart's got to be right before we enter into the kingdom. And the last thing we want is to be unforgiven. So I ask for forgiveness. And just knowing that without hope, there'd be nothing. you'd have no hope. There'd be nothing you'd think about for eternity. There'd be nothing to hold on to. But because of that hope, and knowing that what the word says is life is like a vapor, it brings new meaning to me to know that any one of us can be gone in an instant, in a twinkling of an eye. And I'm just thankful to have a second chance. Makes me think about things and look at things differently now. Makes me stop and smell the flowers more. And if I'm going through any type of anxiety, I'm mindful to remember to take a deep breath and just relax and worry about the things that I can control and not be concerned about the things I can't control. And I just like to thank God and everyone that was part of this, that witnessed this miracle.
Where's Daddy, Adam?
Daddy road.
Where?
Daddy go.
Where'd Daddy go?
Hang a minute. Daddy went dolphin.
Golfing.
Daddy went dolphin.
Daddy went to an auction in Halifax. Can you say that?
Dolphin. Outside.
Hopefully it'll be an impact and it'll be a help. And I'm just thankful that I get a second chance to continue helping others. And I thank those that helped me that day. And most of all, I just thank God for extending my days. And I'm grateful and thankful.